Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Surf Shaman here. It's Christmas Day, 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm at Sandy Hook, and I'm at parking lot la-di-da-di-da, and we're going to give it one last shot before the end of the season. Maybe we can pick up a striper or two. So here I am. I got my little surf cart all set up. The wind's coming out of the northeast. You're getting that northwest, and you're getting that nice homeless shelter smell from the 5 boroughs mixed in with, feels like you're standing on the streets of Manhattan. And here we go. Let me drag my old butt down to the beach with my cart, and I'll be back. Yeah, so here I am, walking across the beach. A lot easier to walk across the beach and pull that cart when there's no ruts in the sand from the trucks. Looks like we got 2 party boats out there together, and down here we got another party boat. And like I said, definitely north wind, but I'll tell you something, there must have been one hell of a storm here on Monday, because the high tide line is all the way up against the dunes, and that's probably what, 125 yards, so that must have been something else. So I'm gonna get all set up here and get some bait out, and I will be back. Okay, so generally what I do is I get my clams from the supermarket. They're like, you get the chowder clams, they're like $6.99 a dozen, and like on a 8-knot hook, sometimes you need 2, sometimes you only need 1, depending on the size. So what you do is go in there. Usually if you go early in the morning when they first open, you just pick the big ones out of the chowder clam, and they love you because they don't sell that many clams most of the year. But you know, you try to get them in the bait store, you can't get fresh, or they're freshly shucked, or they're salted, which I highly recommend that you don't use, because they're like, you might as well just cut up old shoes and put them on the hook. So generally what I do is, if you look, there's like a gap here, line. And watch your hands when you do this. If you balance it right and get it right inside that line, like that, just hit it and it'll cut right into it. So I generally like to use this knife best. I also have a little paring knife that I use to cut the muscle ends. Yeah. And what a lot of people don't realize these days is that these are all GMO clams. They raise the babies down somewhere down around Seaside, and then they put them out. And I got this from one of the fish and game biologists, is that they're sterile and they grow within legal size within a year. But the funny thing is that if you remember from your high school biology, clams only have 1 foot. These have 2. Okay? So take that as you must. Anyway, so what I do is just cut it out. And I tend to throw these out on the sand because the seagulls, they'll pick this out with their beaks like vultures. And so generally what I use is a fish finder rig with an 8-ounce sinker. I got a 40-pound shock leader to 25-pound test on my line. And I got what, maybe 3 feet of 40-pound fluorocarbon snelled to 8-knot mustad circle hook. So generally what I do is I just start gobbing it on here. Get the little pieces, and then what I do is just run it through that foot. Then you find the other foot, the GMO foot, which I can't really find right now because I buried it. Yeah, so I put that on. And what I do is I use the nylon cord. It's not nylon, it's cotton elastic cord. And you can get this at Walmart. It's right by the sewing thread, and it's like less than $2 for a spool of it. And I recommend you get it there because I can imagine the bait stores charging you like $9 for this. It generally comes in like something like that. But I trim these ends off so it fits in here. And so on there. This gives you a little bit more whipping power because what I'm using is 12-foot Hatteras heavers. And I'll tell you one thing, there's one way to guarantee you'll catch at least one fish. Is I generally get down here and I set my stuff up, and then I put bait out, and then I put my waders on. And I can guarantee you 9 out of 10 times, as soon as you sit down and get 1 foot into your waders, 1 leg into your waders, you're gonna get a strike and have to go running down the beach dragging your waders. All right, so I'm gonna cast this out, and I'll show you casting as soon as the sun comes up a little bit more. I got my 2 Hatteras heavers out with clam as the sun's coming up, and what I'm going to do now is plug along. I have a 2-piece Fenwick fast action that I made. 2-piece because I used to go down to Florida tarpon fishing, and you can ship this in a tube to the hotel. You have to take it on the plane, and this is basically rigged up with 12-pound test, 25-pound test mono shock leader, and a 25-pound test fluorocarbon. I'm going to be using the mag darter, and we'll see what happens. Purple and black mag darter, and we're off. Yeah, I'm going to switch off. I'm not having much confidence in this plug. Plus it's a little heavy for this pole. This pole is mainly good for like 3/4 to 1 or 2 ounces. So I'm going to switch over to a rubber sand eel. So yeah, like I said, I'm going to switch over to the rubber sand eel-y thing here. Just bring this across the bottom, real slow, easy, water's real calm. Had a lot of luck with these this year. This is also on the other side of the hole I was just fishing on. There's a channel coming through there, some birds hanging out, so that should help. Yeah, I just noticed that there's some swirly spots where the sand's getting kicked up right in the trough over there. So I reeled in my clam on that one pole and dropped it close into the trough between the 2 swirly spots with the sand. Now I go back to casting my sand eel. So getting back to it, like I said, I get my clams from the ShopRite. These are what they call chowder clams. Usually if you go like 9 o'clock in the morning, and when they first put them out, you can pick through and get the big ones. Sometimes you get really big ones, sometimes you don't get some big ones. But they're $6.99 a dozen. So that works out, because it's kind of hard to find fresh clams. Not like you used to. They used to have a cooler full of them and you just pick the ones you want. Now they put 3 in a container and charge you $10 for it. Shucked. Or they have salted clams, which I wouldn't waste my time. You're better off cutting up whole shoes. But you take the knife, put it in the slot, just go through it. Like I said before, these are GMO clams. I remember from the, and this is coming straight from a state marine biologist. They got 1 foot like normal clams do. Then they got a 2nd foot. So apparently they raise these down by Seaside, and they just toss them and seed them throughout the state. And in 1 year they grow to legal size. But whatever. So I generally just cut it through. I generally put the clamshells on the beach and leave them there face up, because the seagulls, they like to scrape this out with their beaks like vultures. And I use it just a general fish finder rig. And on my Hatteras Heaver, I got 25-pound test. I got 40-pound shock leader that wraps around the spool about 5 or 6 times, and that goes to fish finder rig. Then that goes to like 3 feet of fluorocarbon, 40-pound fluorocarbon Snell. This is the smaller one. I put a 7-knot hook on it. So I generally just string it through. I always want to make sure I get the hook through the bigger foot. So then I said I got my elastic cord, which what I said was you can get this at Walmart. It's like less than $2 for a big spool of it. It's by the sewing thread. And I generally cut these ends off, the plastic ends, with a razor blade so it fits in this. And then I melt a hole through so it doesn't snag, a nice clean side so it doesn't snag going through. And that'll last me. So I think the bait stores would probably charge you about $9 for this spool. Anywho, so I hold it up. Get the gooky part, the soft part. Here's the other foot. Put the other foot on. And guys, when you reel it in, sometimes all you have on left is the elastic thread. Make sure you don't leave that on the beach. I just wrap it around. I try to hold it up close to the eye of the hook so it stays up. And then you don't have to do anything, just snap it off. And you're all set to go. Like I said, there's some swirly spots over there where the sand's getting churned up by the waves, so I'm going to drop it in there close in the trough. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this morning when I got down here, I showed you two ships with all the lights on and everything that I thought was were party boats, and apparently those are factory ships, fishing ships, and I guarantee you, man, they're pulling in their nets. I guarantee they're pulling in stripers and throwing them out dead. I've sat here on the beach and watched them with binoculars, just throwing one dead striper or two dead stripers, just, you know, because I can't bring them in. So that's like messed up for conservation, because that's what, like maybe a mile offshore. Anyway, food for thought. Hey guys, looks like there's some birds working out there. If you can see them to the right of that ship, you can see them swirling. They're moving in towards me. Time to work out the Deadly Dick heavy artillery, see what we can do. Anywho guys, I've been here for a while and haven't seen anything except for that bunch of birds. I thought I saw something move through in front of me. Something was pushing something under the water. But there's a bar over there by where the sun is reflecting on the water. So I moved my one pole over there with some clam, fresh clam, see if I pick anything up. But I'm going to start cleaning up and tug back. And I made the stupid mistake of trying to quit smoking this morning today. Even though I have a patch on, I'm still losing my mind. So wind shifting out of the east. It's like east northeast right now, probably about 5 to 7 miles an hour. Tide's pretty much gone out. I think tomorrow morning I'm gonna make a run down the seaside and see what's going on down there for the last trip of the season. So that's about it. I'll say goodbye when I'm pulling my cart off the beach. The ship just slightly smaller than that, and they have about 6 tenders, small tenders running the nets. And these guys are probably cleaning up on the stripers, even though they're not allowed to take them. But bycatch, they're probably killing off a lot of stripers, and I've witnessed this myself. Yeah, this is conservation. They should forbid any foreign ships, fishing ships, from coming into Jersey coastal waters and make them stay out in federal waters. Okay guys, I'm gonna get my cardio for the week and drag this thing off the beach. And the wind's kind of shifting around, coming out of the east. There's supposed to be a really big storm front coming in tomorrow night. So I'm gonna go down the seaside and try again tomorrow morning. I'll see you all there.